Ladies and gentlemen of New Jersey, this is the face of the epidemic of addiction that is ravaging our state and its people. In fact, it is ravaging our entire country. Yet very few people want to talk about it. We want to continue to pretend that it's isolated to one class of people or one type of family in our state. We want to continue to take the same approaches we've taken for 30 years or more to jail those who have this disease. We want to close our eyes and hope this scourge passes by our own home. If we just hope and pray hard enough to make it so. Well, hoping and praying alone will not make it better. Arresting, jailing, stigmatizing the victims will not make it better. Our friends are dying. Our neighbors are dying. Our coworkers are dying. Our children are dying every day in numbers we can no longer afford to ignore. I am the leader of this state. I have been the leader of this state for the last 2,546 days, and I will be its leader for the next 373 days. And I have been committed to this every day of my governorship. And today, I say to each and every one of you, I need you to join me and feel the same sense of urgency to save lives now. Let me be clear to every New Jerseyan, both in this chamber and in all 21 of our counties. Drug addiction is a disease. A disease. It is not a moral failing. And it is a disease that can be treated. And by treating the disease with the methods we know, and treating its victims with understanding and compassion, we have a chance to save lives. And never forget, each of those lives are an individual gift from God. There can be no calling more clear, no matter your faith, than the calling to save lives. Now, we have taken some admirable steps over the last number of years, and we have made some progress, but it is clearly not enough. I can tell you that by reading the growing statistics. I can see it by watching the growing cost to our budgets. I can feel it by looking into the eyes of too many loved ones who have lost someone so close and so dear that you can actually see their hearts breaking. Beyond the human cost, which is incalculable, there is a real cost to every part of life in New Jersey. So you come to this chamber because you care about children? Well, this is affecting our education system. Children coming to school high or tortured by a drug culture at home cannot learn. You came to this chamber because you cared about improving the healthcare system. Great. It's affecting the medical community. The cost of this epidemic is putting a burden on our system which we will not be able to bear in the years to come. Say you came here because you're concerned about law and order and safety in the streets. That's great. But this is affecting how we fight crime. Police are in danger every day. Citizens are at risk on the streets and on the roads as drug addiction causes behavior that law enforcement simply cannot handle. You care about economy and the jobs, and that's what brought you here? Well, believe me, it's affecting the financial security of every person it touches. Jobs lost, savings wasted, potential ruined, all by a culture of addiction. None of that adds to our economy, just stalls it. Let's say you came here today because you care most about your own family. Well, let me tell you this. Only through the grace of God has it not touched your family already. You are among the lucky ones, and your luck could run out at any moment. This administration has done more than any in New Jersey history on the issue of addiction, and we're proud of it. We're proud of what we've done, but it's not been enough. We have to do more. Drug overdose deaths in New Jersey escalated by nearly 22% between 2014 and 15. Deaths escalated by 22%, largely due to opioids. There was a 30% increase in heroin deaths over the previous year, and triple the number of deaths caused by the synthetic opioid fentanyl, which is 50 times more potent than heroin. Nearly 1,600 people lost their lives to a drug overdose in New Jersey in 2015. 1,600. So you're saying, what's that really mean? Let me give you some perspective. For 2015, those 1,600 is 4 times more the number of murders in New Jersey. 4 times more the number of murders, and 3 times more the number of people who were killed in automobile accidents in the state for the same year. Nationally, for the first time in 2015, deaths from heroin overdoses alone, heroin alone, surpassed deaths in the United States by firearm homicides. Just heroin. And the fatalities in New Jersey in 2015 would have been even greater when you factor in the number of people whose lives were saved after receiving the overdose reversal medication Narcan. It was this administration which made Narcan available in every county. We also provided training for law enforcement and EMTs on how to safely use it to save people's lives. Has it worked? How about this? We had 10,000 Narcan deployments in 2016 alone. That's 10,000 lives that could have been lost without Narcan. Add that to the 1,600 victims who didn't make it. That means we could have lost more than 10,000 lives without our aggressive action on Narcan. It's absolutely unthinkable, but likely to have happened if we had not acted boldly. And then there are the countless lives of those who were addicted, but in the shadows. They haven't been captured by a statistic yet, but we know they're there. And those are the ones we need to reach out to before it's too late. Think about this, everybody. According to the Surgeon General, an American dies every 19 minutes from an overdose of heroin or opioid painkillers. Every 19 minutes. That means while we're in this chamber, 3 Americans will die of an overdose. And the next hour, and the next hour, and the next hour. Nearly 50,000 people died in 2014 across the country of a drug overdose. And in that same report, the Surgeon General tells us that the age of first use of alcohol or any other illicit drug vastly increases the rate of addiction. So in other words, this is what I'm saying. The earlier you try any illicit drug, the greater the risk of addiction to other drugs. I want all the advocates of legalizing recreational marijuana to listen to those numbers. If you try any drug by the age of 13, you have a 70% chance, according to the Surgeon General, of developing addiction to another drug within 7 years. Try an illicit drug at the age of 13, 7 out of 10 of them will be addicted to another drug by the time they are 20. I hope, I pray, that this will give pause to those who are blindly pushing ahead to legalize another illicit drug in our state for tax revenue or by falsely saying it will cause no harm. The statistics prove you wrong. Dead wrong. How about this? 1 in 12 high school seniors report that they currently use Vicodin. 1 in 20 currently report they use OxyContin. 467,000 children between the ages of 12 and 17 use prescription pain medication. 12 and 17. And 168,000 of those are addicted to pain medication. The prescribing rates for these drugs to this age group has doubled in the last 13 years. Use of these drugs often leads to abuse of and addiction to heroin as a cheaper and more readily available alternative. These are just numbers. Go behind the numbers, everyone. Think about it. These are real people. Think about the 17-year-old captain of the high school football team who hurts his knee and then gets OxyContin. Think about the 19-year-old, the girl who gets 30 Percocet for the removal of 2 wisdom teeth. Good, achieving, normal children on the path to a bright future until their lives are derailed and turned upside down by the careless abundance of opioids in our state. I didn't come here just to identify the problem. I want to lay out to you now a comprehensive plan to fight this fight more aggressively, because there is nothing more important I can do with my last 373 days as governor than this. Let's work to save lives together, and let us start together today. So, first, let's deal with the basics. If you don't know where to find help, you can't get help for your family. We need to make treatment easier to locate and more accessible to families and individuals when they're in the middle of a crisis. We need one place every family in New Jersey can go for help. So today, our administration is launching a one-stop website and a hotline to make it easier to access treatment. The website will put addiction information in one place and help eliminate the question families often face when seeking help. Where do I go? Who do I turn to? It's going to enhance public awareness regarding treatment options. It's going to provide insurance guidance. It's going to identify locations of state-licensed rehab facilities for children and adults and share information on employment support programs for those who have entered recovery. The website will include updates on the programs being offered by state agencies, but it will also list private and nonprofit contact information as an option as well. One website, one phone number to help guide people through what can be a really daunting bureaucracy, especially for those paralyzed by crisis. We cannot reach those in need if the path to help is confusing. And we will launch an aggressive public relations campaign to inform every family in need where they can go for help. Starting today, dial 1-844-REACH-NJ, 1-844-REACH-NJ, or go to the web at reachnj.gov. That's the one place families will be able to go to get all of this information. Next, in addition to providing better information access, last year we increased funding for treatment, as I said before, by more than $127 million for behavioral health providers. We will propose that funding again for the next year's budget. So we're making progress on expanding capacity through that investment, but we need to do even more. Found this out recently. Current regulations do not allow us to treat 18 and 19-year-olds as children in our state system. What's this do? It leaves us with empty treatment beds for our youth and resulting overcrowding in treatment beds for people who are 18 years of age or older. Well, I don't believe we have the luxury of allowing any treatment beds in this state to remain empty. Therefore, I'm going to change this rule. We will invest an additional $12 million to open more beds for this very vulnerable population. This expansion will be led by Commissioner Blake and the Department of Children and Families, and it's going to allow their licensed residential facilities to treat 18 and 19-year-olds rather than stop at 17. And what this will do is open another 200 beds to hundreds of young people who are seeking help. So we have to do everything we can to keep our children off of waiting lists and get them on to treatment, because the wait may be more than they can bear. Next, I'm directing Commissioner of Education